right, Matt. Last season, you know this, the Red Sox suffered one of the worst collapses in baseball history. Turmoil on and off the field led to a change in leadership. Now the Red Sox hope a new manager can make everything okay. The Tigers' season ended in the ALCS in the hands of the Texas Rangers. With the AL batting champ and Cy Young Award winner already aboard, the Tigers welcome a returning prince who they hope will make them the kings of baseball. On Thursday, they had the largest opening day crowd in the history of Comerica Park. And now today, they have their biggest crowd for game number 2 on their home schedule. It's a rematch with the Boston Red Sox, and a good one for you on Fox Saturday Baseball, Boston and Detroit. And now welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck. That's Tim McCarver. We are so happy to be back for our 17th year together. And who am I sitting next to? The most recently elected Hall of Famer, the winner of the Ford C. Frick Award for Broadcasting Excellence, Tim McCarver. I didn't do that in rehearsal because I knew you wouldn't want to talk about it or bring that up. Now you have to be even quicker. How good are the Detroit Tigers?
I can't think of a team in recent memory that is a clear-cut favorite to win their division. I mean, they can hit, they can pitch, and in Jim Leyland, they know they have a winning manager. As far as the Red Sox are concerned, how many contending teams open the season without a bona fide closer? That's what the Red Sox are doing this year.
They've got a lot of questions to answer here early, but still a very good team and a fun day. Weather is ideal, as you can see. It's the Red Sox and the Tigers. I'm with a Hall of Famer. It's next on Fox. Be any better, 62 degrees, a perfect day for game number 2, and these two teams have had 48 hours just about to think about day 1 on Thursday. A 3-2 Detroit lead win. The opening pitch is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And we'll take a look at the Red Sox lineup. Doug Fister will deal with this group. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Ellsbury leads it off, then Pedroia, Adrian Gonzalez, David Ortiz is the DH, Euclid at third base with Ryan Sweeney in right, Cody Ross in left. Saltalamacchia does the catching, and Mike Avila is the shortstop. And they are taking on a right-hander, Tim, who was a revelation last year when the Tigers picked him up from the Mariners. He was down the stretch 8-1.
Yeah, you look at those numbers, that two-seam sinking fastball from the 28-year-old Pfister. Lives and dies with that two-seamer. And all you have to do is think back to Game 3 of the ALCS last year and working to Adrian Beltre. Inside. Just wearing Beltre out inside. He continued to do that to the right-handers of Texas in both starts against them. So look for that again today, too.
Taking on the Red Sox, who were shut down by Justin Verlander, last year's AL Cy Young Award winner and MVP. He went 8. And he starts with a strike, and that's nothing that you don't expect from Pfister, who in over 70 innings with the Tigers last year walked only 5. Ellsbury had an unbelievable year last year. He did everything. That pitch is taken over but low for ball 1. Ellsbury, you saw those numbers. 32 home runs. Previous high was 9. 105 RBIs, 39 steals, covers a ton of ground in the outfield. And he's looking for his first hit. He won't get it here. 1 out as Delman Young moves in and to his right. And Ellsbury has started this season 0 for 5. And if you look at the defensive alignment for Detroit, it's brought to you by Scott's. You know, Young is in left. Austin Jackson in center. Brennan Bosch, the Tigers missed him down the stretch last year, is in right. Cabrera now at third with Peralta. Second baseman is Rayburn. Fielder over at first. And the catcher is one of the game's best in Alex Avila, who receives strike number 1 to Dustin Pedroia. Pedroia, former Rookie of the Year, then the next season the MVP in the American League. And Pfister trying to pick up where Verlander left off on Thursday. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Jim Leyland telling us that we will not have time to work on our stories in the early going because Pfister works so quickly.
Was not bad news. I thought that was actually good to hear.
Yeah.
Here's a 1-1 and a foul out of play off to the right. You know, we talked about it briefly in the opening, and I'm not sure that anybody pays attention to what we talk about in the opening, but this is a Red Sox team that everybody's aware of the collapse they had at the end of last year. You may forget the start they had with a 2-10 start, an 0-6 first week. So it was really bookended in 2011. 2 up, 2 down against Pfister as Pedroia grounds out to Peralta. And the batter will be Adrian Gonzalez with the bases empty. So this is a team in that Boston dugout that's looking for a fast start under a new manager with a lot of question marks and a lot of guys hurt. As Adrian Gonzalez, coming off a terrific first year in a Red Sox uniform, digs his way in.
Red Sox 9 games in first place on September 4th. And they lost to the Orioles the last game of the season, while Tampa Bay came back against the New York Yankees, being down 7-0. Tampa Bay won in extra innings on an Evan Longoria home run, and the Red Sox were not in the playoffs, and Tampa Bay was.
Red Sox losing to the Orioles, and what was
unbelievable,
just an unbelievable final night of the regular season. Probably the best final night that we've had in a long time,
maybe ever,
in the game of Major League Baseball. That one floats up and away, and the count goes to 2-0 on Gonzalez. Be interesting to see how Josh Beckett gets along here today against this good Tigers lineup. And Beckett is looking to, as quickly as he can, put 2011 behind him, get off to a good start, which he got off to last season. And then he was one of the guys right in the middle of the controversy with the chicken and beer stories that were going on in the clubhouse while the Red Sox were falling apart in September. Something he called lapses in judgment. Now he's got to go out there and answer after being looked at for a bad thumb at the end of spring training.
Yeah, Boston writer Scott Lauber named it the pitchers of beer.
Here's a 2-2 pitch and a foul backing out of play. Adrian Gonzalez, who has a great power the other way, trying to get on in front of a slimmed down version of David Ortiz. Pfister ready with the 2-2. What a start for the right-hander, and he picks up where he left off last season. He likes that Tigers uniform. After a half in Detroit, no score. Last year, he ended the season 13-7, but had a rough September. Here's the Tigers lineup brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Austin Jackson, Brennan Bosch, and then Miguel Cabrera. Prince Fielder, the new cleanup man here with Detroit. Delman Young in left. Avila, the catcher. Peralta, Andy Dirks is the DH. And Ryan Rayburn is at second base, batting ninth. There is Josh Beckett, 6'5", 225-pound right-hander, 31 years old. And his numbers from last year. But a big part of the collapse down the stretch when he lost to the Orioles twice in that final month. He deals high for ball one. Austin Jackson has revamped his hitting mechanics as he fouls it back. He had 3 hits in the opener on Thursday. Working in the offseason with hitting coach Lloyd McClendon, he got quicker to the ball. He let go of some of that high leg kick. Had a great rookie season here with Detroit. Dipped down last year, and the strikeouts have always piled up. And now he's in the hole at 1-2.
He's always had his feet on the ground as far as his mental approach, but now he's got his feet on the ground physically also. No high leg kick with that left leg. Very, very important.
You see the 351 combined strikeouts over his first 2 seasons. A lot for a guy that can run. When he puts the ball in play, he's hit better than 340 each season.
Yeah, he had two strike hits the other day, and that's the one thing that Lloyd McClendon has tried to preach to him. With 2 strikes, try and go the other way.
Here's a 2-2 from Beckett. Drives him off the plate, a full count. There's last season on the left with that high leg kick, and then on Thursday it's not as pronounced and much straighter right at the ball. Here is a 3-2 from Beckett. And his day starts with a walk. And now the scouting report on this big right-hander for the Red Sox.
He is as much a big game pitcher as any pitcher in the game. You may remember the MVP of the 2003 World Series when the Florida Marlins beat the New York Yankees. His changeup is very important, and also it's only his 4th game starting with Saltalamacchia behind the plate. Jason Varitek has retired, so no more Varitek, and he'll have to get used to the 6'4" Saltalamacchia.
And I think you mentioned his height for a reason. It's a different look with a taller catcher behind home plate.
It's tough. You're right, Joe. I mean, it's tough to give that low sign. It's tough to throw. You have longer legs. It's you need quicker footwork behind the plate.
Another check on Jackson. Tigers don't do a lot of running. That's not what they're known for, and they did not steal a base in the opener on Thursday. If there's one guy in their lineup that can run, he's at first base. And if there's one guy on the mound who's always had trouble holding runners close and cutting down stolen bases, he's wearing number 19 for the Red Sox.
You know why that is, too, Joe, is he starts with his hands down around his waist. And in order to deliver the ball, he has to bring his hands up. And that all takes time. He's quicker to first than most guys. But when you have to go from your waist to your chest to deliver the ball, that takes time and gives the runner a lot more time to steal a base.
Counts 1 ball, no strikes on Brennan Bosch. He should be another guy to have a big year hitting in front of Cabrera. Good pitch from Beckett, fooled Bosch, and that's strike 1. Bosch is a guy that combines power and speed, 26 years old, 3rd round pick out of Cal in 06. Hit 14 home runs in 2010, had 16 last year, was hurt then at the end of July with a torn ligament in his right thumb. Here's a little squirter caught by Avila, and no double play. Humpback liner, 1 on, 1 out. We go to Matt Vasgersian for a DirecTV game break. Yeah, so they won it on their 3-run shot, the opener in the 16th inning, and now they're back into extra innings in Cleveland again. So fans there getting their money's worth. And with 1 on, 1 out, the batter is Cabrera. And we know one thing about Cabrera. He can hit. And I don't know if there's a more dangerous hitter in the game. He's lost some weight, which should quicken that bat even more. What we don't know is how he will do going back across the diamond, playing third base with the addition of Prince Fielder. Jackson starts and stops on a pitch outside, ball 1.
Jim Leyland telling us today that Cabrera has a great arm. And he said, now, for emphasis, I don't mean a good arm. I mean a great arm. So playing third base, he can make up with some of those mistakes that he makes on ground balls by picking it up and throwing out a runner. 343 games at third as a Florida Marlin.
He made 14 starts there in 08, his first year with Detroit under Jim Leyland. He had made 5 errors, and at that point Leyland flipped him to the other side of the diamond, and that was it. It would have been it if not for the late signing of Prince Fielder after the injury to Victor Martinez. Martinez, their catcher DH, blew out his knee. Mike Ilitch, the owner, who's been the owner of the Tigers for 20 years, opened up the vault and unloaded a 9-year deal on Fielder, and that forced a defensive change for Cabrera. And now this crowd getting frustrated with Beckett paying so much attention to Jackson over at first.
There was a wonderful article by Mitch Albom the other day in the Detroit paper interviewing Mike Ilitch, who is 82 years old, and he said, let's face it, how much time do I have left? I want to win a World Series.
Good pitch from Beckett for a strike, and the count 1-1 on Cabrera. Meanwhile, you say the name Illich, and you also think of the Red Wings. And at last check, they were tied. We'll get a score. I know Detroit fans already know it, I'm sure. They're playing the Blackhawks and Joe Louis. There goes the runner, and there's a fly ball. Deep into left center field. Back at the wall, and the Tigers strike first on a Saturday afternoon. Home run, Cabrera, 2-0 Detroit.
Lightning fan hands through the strike zone. And pitch on the inside part of the plate. It's where you tell pitchers to jam hitters. Beckett tried to do that to Cabrera, but not so, says Miguel. Wow.
Now it's Prince Fielder. He grew up around this organization, watching his dad Cecil play for the Tigers. And after that 412-foot home run hit by Cabrera, here is Prince Fielder waiting for a 1-0 from Beckett. In at the knees, a ball and a strike.
They're one of the bigger ballparks in the major leagues, one of the toughest to hit home runs, coupled with the fact the wind is blowing in from center field.
Count is 1 ball, 1 strike. And Beckett takes too long, so Fielder hops out. That for Cabrera, only his second career hit off Beckett. He'd been 1 for 11 before that. There's a strike on the outside part. That's strike 2. They play Fielder to pull on the infield and in the outfield. Last year's batting champ, Miguel Cabrera, has given Detroit the lead as Fielder fights off the pitch and stays up there at 1-2.
Bobby Valentine saying that Beckett may throw some curveballs early in the game. That was his first one.
He said he's not happy with the way it feels. He's talked about the thumb situation, saying he's been dealing with it for a year and a half. Got it checked out by 2 different doctors leading into the regular season. He just kind of casually talking about Beckett threw out there that I may have to have surgery on this at some point. But for a guy as good as Beckett to not feel good about his curveball, and that could be because it's early in the season.
Cold weather,
but
right?
That's as big a weapon as he has.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what's made him so successful in the big leagues.
Yep.
Here's a 1-2. Line drive hit to Pedroia, 2 out. How about for more on Beckett? We go down and say hello for the first time today to Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Joe, Josh was taken aback by all the attention on his thumb problem, but when you see 2 hand specialists in 2 days, as he did this week, one in San Antonio, one in Cleveland, it's going to get people a little more interested. He also had a cortisone shot in the offseason, another one during spring training, and his thumb did not respond as well. That's why people are a little bit uneasy about where he is. What he's dealing with are changes in the joint attached to the ligament.
Before we go to break, whose tie are you wearing today, Kenny Rosenthal?
American Diabetes Association.
All right, we've got him. We've got our secret weapon in the dugout. As Delman Young fouls out to Gonzalez at first. 2-0 as Cabrera went deep in inning number 1. Sponsored by the all-new Mazda CX-5 with 35 highway MPG. And by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB. 2-0 Detroit on the home run by Cabrera. We're in the second now as Ortiz takes down an in-ball one. Where is the rest of David Ortiz? He left it back at home over the offseason. Had a good chat with him before the game as you look at the infield shift. And Ortiz still finds a hole. Rayburn got a glove on it but can't make a play as Ortiz has hit number 1 on the season. And this little conversation happened after that bottom of the first.
You're going to see that a lot. Salty talking to Beckett.
You're also going to see that a lot from Miguel Cabrera.
Off a lot of different pitchers.
Batter is Euclid, who takes a strike. Euclid was missing down the stretch for the Red Sox. He is always such a big piece of what they're doing. I know Red Sox fans are already tired of me talking about their 7-20 finish last season, but until they get some time under their belt here in 2012, that's going to be a topic and why it seems so important for them to get off to a good start. New manager and some changes, especially with the pitching staff. That's up and in. And it's 2-1 on Euclid.
Because from that 2-10 start and that 7-20 September, they were the best team in baseball. Led the American League in 6 different offensive categories from a team standpoint last year.
And they led baseball in runs, hits, doubles, top 3rd in home runs, batting average. They did it all as the count goes to 2-2 on Euclid. But down the stretch they couldn't get anybody out, and that's why Bobby Valentine was named the 45th manager in Red Sox history, and Terry Francona put on a coat and tie and joined me while you were getting checked out in St. Louis.
For a couple of games.
That's outside, the count full.
Look at how much money Terry Francona owes me for giving him a jump start in this business.
You'll find Terry on your dial on Sunday nights. Here is a 3-2 instead of checking Ortiz, who says, I know I'm slimmed down, but I'm still not going to run. He and Prince Fielder may be talking about just that. A strikeout of Euclid for round number 1. And the second strikeout of the day for the right-hander Doug Fister.
You know, when you think of this pitch, it's almost the same spot that Cabrera hit that home run. Almost. I mean, the ball was tailing in to Euclid. That gives you an idea of how difficult that pitch is to hit. Cabrera did, Euclid didn't.
And that slow motion replay almost, as Ryan Sweeney digs in, it almost reminds you perfectly of the movement that Fister has.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what made him so tough to hit down the stretch for the Tigers last year. That pitch down and in ball 1. Jim Leyland telling us before the game that the difference for Fister between here and Seattle was that he was spotting that pitch and letting the movement take over, and he was as good as there was in the league, with the exception being maybe his teammate Verlander, who continues to prove, as he did on Thursday, that he's the best pitcher in the game. Two 2-0 the count on Ryan Sweeney, who hit a game-tying RBI triple on Thursday in the ninth of Valverde. He takes a strike. He's a corner outfielder, does not have a ton of power. Now he steps out. Off the fists, and the count 2-2. So you've got Sweeney in right, you've got Cody Ross in left, while the Red Sox wait for the wrist of Carl Crawford to recover. He had inflammation in there during spring training that slowed his return. That'll be a big piece when they get him back. 2-2 is outside a full count. It's the first time in the 112 years of Tigers baseball where they have sold out their first 2 home games of the season. That is just inside, and a walk puts 2 on for the Red Sox here in the second, and we give you our keys to the game. It's brought to you by Ford.
From a Red Sox standpoint, can Josh Beckett go deep into the game? The bullpen for the Red Sox, everybody knows that without their closer. And can Fister duplicate 2011 when he was absolutely terrific? You talked about those 5 walks. He struck out 57 last year and walked 5 for Detroit.
Here's Cody Ross. So you know it's going to be around the plate, but it's got that great movement. Here's a 1-0. Looks like he changed up in the count. 1 ball, 1 strike. 84-mile-an-hour pitch for a guy who became a postseason hero for the San Francisco Giants 2 Octobers ago when the Giants won it all. Chopper to the second baseman. That leads Rayburn to the bag, and the double play ends the inning. And we've played 1.5. Fister gets the double play ball with that good movement. He's through 2 scoreless. 2-0 Tigers after 1.5. Presented by Chevrolet, is sponsored by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. So after the home run, after the conversation in the dugout, Josh Beckett back to the hill. Avila is the first one up. And Johnny Peralta, Andy Dirks, 6, 7, and 8 hitters for Jim Leland. Ground ball to the right side. That's Gonzalez, one of the best in the business at fielding that position. 1 out. Take a look at the rest of the defense. It's brought to you by Scott's. Boston has Ross in left, Sweeney in right, Ellsbury in center. Buchlas, Avilas, Dustin Pedroia, Adrian Gonzalez, and the battery of Saltalamacchia and Josh Beckett, who just picked up out number 1. And we'll deal with Johnny Peralta, who had 3 hits. The season opener on Thursday afternoon. He's a shortstop that's got good hands, doesn't have a ton of range, and that's one of the question marks for the Tigers in 2012. How will they catch it? How far will they be able to go to catch it, especially on the infield defensively? Strike one from Beckett.
Catching the ball and speed. They do not have a lot of team speed. They go 90 feet. Whereas Bobby Valentine was telling us before the game that the one thing he tried to preach this spring was 180 feet. He calls it the Ochoa 180. Alex Ochoa, the first base coach of the Red Sox. And I think Bobby trying to word it a little differently, realizing that the Red Sox need to laugh.
Here's a foul tip off the bat of Peralta. There's Alex Ochoa. He's been added to this staff, and Ochoa, the 180, meaning take an extra base when you can, something that the Red Sox worked on in spring training. But then Bobby said, that doesn't mean that we're not still enjoying the Mags 360, meaning their hitting coach Dave Magadan and guys hitting the ball out of the park. Here's another one for Gonzalez, 2 out. And as you look at the changes for the Boston Red Sox, realize that all this goes on in the pressure cooker that is playing baseball at Fenway Park. A change up top with general managers in the corner of the dugout at closer. They lost their captain Veritek. Tim Wakefield retired as well. Scudero traded to Colorado. Lackey, Tommy John surgery on the 60-day DL, and Daniel Bard, who will get his first start in Toronto on Tuesday, has been made a starter. While Tim, all those problems have hit the bullpen, and it's really been a domino effect when they lost their closer Bailey with that thumb injury he suffered in a collision at first base in Florida.
Consider this. The Red Sox lost 3 prominent bullpen members without throwing a pitch. They lost them during the winter. Papelbon went as a free agent to Philadelphia. Bard was turned into a starter, and Andrew Bailey failing to open the first game of the season on Thursday.
Saw that note. It's an interesting note. The last time that a team changed important pieces of an organization with the GM, with the manager, with the closer. Now they've done that with Theo Epstein being gone. Ben Cherington takes over. Terry Francona gone. Bobby Valentine, and the closer is still right now up in the air. Here's a pop-up left side, a better inning for Beckett. He is waiting for Ross to haul it in. He does, and we've played 2. Red Sox coming to bat in the 3rd inning, 2-0 Detroit. Back after this from your local Fox station. It will be the 8-9-1 hitters for the Red Sox, down 2-0 on the strength of the Cabrera home run in the first. Saltalamacchia first up, then Avilas, then Jacoby Ellsbury. Here are the numbers for Saltalamacchia as the pitch goes down and in, and the count goes to 2-0. Pfister allowed a hit and a walk in the second, but got around it with a double play ball. And he waits for a 2-0. It's fouled back and out of play for the former Ranger and Atlanta Brave, Jared Saltalamacchia. On deck is Avilas, who was picked up from the Royals last July. Here's a 2-1. 3 balls and a strike from Pfister. Have a chance to visit with Bobby Valentine during the break after this top of the third. The count goes to 3-1, and Saltalamacchia takes a high pitch and rips it down into the right field corner. It gets away from the right fielder Bosch, but he recovers to hold Saltalamacchia to a leadoff double.
I think everybody realizes that sinkers are designed to be thrown around the knees, not above the belt. That was above the belt. Saltalamacchia looking for it and gets his first hit of the season.
So a leadoff double, and we'll see what the Red Sox can do with this chance. It's that momentary bobble, but Saltalamacchia was content with 2. Here is Avilas, and he takes a strike as he shows bunt, and that was something that you didn't see a lot of when Terry Francona was in the corner of the dugout for the Red Sox. He did not like to give up outs.
I don't think you're going to see it from Avilas either. I think that was just designed to move the infielders around. A feint.
Here's one from Pfister, up and in, a ball and a strike. Third base coach now is Jerry Royster for the Red Sox. He got the signs from Bobby Valentine. Royster, a real good major league player in his day. And the 1-1 is grounded left side for Cabrera. Gets the high hop, shows that on 1 out. Avilas does not advance the runner. You can visit www.mlb.com/fanguide to register for a chance to win a VIP experience for 2 to a World Series game this year, and download your favorite team schedule, presented by Scott's, the official lawn care company of MLB. It's a good pitch in on the hands of Avilas from Pfister for out number 1. And back to the top, here's Ellsbury, who knocked in 105 last year. To the right side for Rayburn. Gets that high hop, 2 out. And this scoring chance is going to fall right into the lap of Dustin Pedroia with a runner at third, 2 out. Ellsbury is now 0 for 6.
Dustin, the Rookie of the Year in 2007, the Most Valuable Player in 2008, and is as much the soul of this Red Sox team as any player in baseball is the soul of any team.
Outside, ball 1. He was always a favorite of Terry Francona's. They would look at cribbage.
Yeah. Every day, home and the road.
Left side, hard hit right at Cabrera, showing the hometown fans what he can do at third base. 2 putouts from the slugger, who has homered today. Around and around we go. Into the bottom of the third, 2-0 Tigers. Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you.
Nine 1 and 2 hitters for the Tigers, up 2-0 on Beckett, who gave up the first inning home run. He drills the outside corner to Rayburn. They count on 1. It's Jackson to follow, then Brennan Bosch. We had a chance to talk to Bobby Valentine during the break. We'll give that to you after Rayburn does something to start this third. Good pitch down and away, and that fooled Rayburn, strike 2.
Yeah, a little cutter from Josh Beckett. Good pitch.
He is facing a lineup that is tough to pitch to with a balance that Prince Fielder brings it. And with the health of Brennan Bosch going left, right, power up and down, the batter Rayburn went around on a good breaking ball from Beckett. And that is strikeout number 1. And out number 1 in the third. And here is our chat with Bobby Valentine. First question about if he liked the group he had around him in 2012.
Yeah, great team, great guys. Coaching staff's done a heck of a job with a great group of players. You know, this pitching staff and this offensive team that hasn't really kicked it in yet is, as good as there is in the game.
Bobby, how about Josh Beckett and the field he has today?
I think everything's going well there with Josh. You know, he made that pitch to Cabrera that he wanted to run in a little more, but he has all his pitches going. He looks like the Josh Beckett we need. You
glad you're wearing sanitary socks today instead of a suit and tie standing up here?
Matter of fact, they're not sannies, but I like being in this costume. You bet.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you.
Yeah, not many guys wear sanitary socks anymore. They wear those 2-in-1s with that stirrup look stitched into the sock. But for a guy that spent time at ESPN and as a broadcaster, he is happy to be back in the dugout where he's been for the Rangers. He's been for the Mets, where he's been in Japan. And a guy that belongs down in the dugout and I think plays this game about as well as anybody plays it. Dealing with the media, being cryptic with some of the things he says, dealing with the team. We'll see how he gets along with this club and how this club gets along with him in 2012. If you look at his career, 2 times in Japan.
Fired by President Bush.
That's right. And a guy that took the Mets to the World Series, taking on the Yankees.
George W. Bush, one of the owners of the Texas Rangers. He and Bobby still good friends, but fired there in 1992.
He took the Mets to the series in 2000. It was a 5-game series. But a guy that, well, you never know what you're going to get, which I think breathes a little life into this game from time to time. And
just thinking about it, I've always thought that term sanitary socks was very strange.
It is. But that's what they called them, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. For those who may not know, there were socks that went under your regular stirrup socks and actually went over the knee.
Here's a 2-2. Another foul out of play. Ken Rosenthal talked to us about Bobby Valentine in his first year with the Red Sox.
Well, Joe, we're all waiting to see how this goes, but one thing that the Red Sox need to do, regardless really of who is the manager, is get off to a good start, especially after last season. You guys have touched on this, but their first 15 games are as rough as it gets. The Tigers, Blue Jays, Rays, Rangers, and Yankees. After that, it eases considerably.
Here is a shot into the corner off the bat of Austin Jackson, and now he will turn on the Jets and coast into second base with a 1-out double. That's his 4th hit already with that new stride.
All 4 hits with 2 strikes. He walked with 2 strikes his first time up. That, by the way, was a curveball thrown by a pitcher who looked like he had a sore thumb. I don't mean to alarm Red Sox Nation, but that hanger right there, that ball just hung up there and screamed, hit me, and hit me hard. There's the hanger right there. No downward movement from Beckett's curve.
Now runner at second, 1 out. The batter is Bosch, who has the ultimate protection in this lineup behind him in Cabrera. Beckett Takes too long, so Bosch hops out.
If you're Josh Beckett and Saltalamacchia, what you say is we're going to can that pitch for a couple of innings. That ball just laying there for Austin Jackson to smash. He did. And if you're the hitter on deck or in the hole, and he comes back with a curveball, that's a very interesting pitch right there.
And it missed up and away, ball one.
But still a lazy breaking ball.
Well, if there are question marks in a rotation about the 4 and 5 starters, Dubron and Josh Bard. Here's a fly ball into right. Well hit at the wall and caught by Sweeney on the track. Back to second is Jackson. Said Josh Bard. Daniel Bard. You better have a 1-2-3 in your rotation, and Beckett is a big part of that. Let's go to Matt for a DirecTV game break.
Hey, Joe, the Blue Jays and Indians have played 2 games, totaling 28 innings, and today the Blue Jays scored 4 in the 12th. They improved to 2-0. Look out for Toronto in 2012. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Joe, back to you.
All right, Matt. Well, Tim, they have some pieces in Toronto, and a club that has been gaining on it seems like, the last couple of years, and maybe 2012 is the year they break through.
Yeah, that's where the Red Sox go for 3 games next week before they head back to Fenway Park and open in Boston on Friday.
And that's where Daniel Bard will get that first start. And to me, there's going to be even more pressure on Bard to show that he can be a starter in the big leagues, because he's the most obvious piece to go to the back end of the bullpen with the departure of Papelbon and the injury to Belo.
That is a solid point.
Batter is Cabrera, who homered his first time up in the count 0-1. Cabrera, last year's batting champ. He edged out his buddy Adrian Gonzalez for that award. The batter Cabrera went around. That's strike 2. I want to talk more about Bard and what we spoke to Bobby Valentine about before the game with regard to his spot in the rotation. I thought he made a good point. Hopefully we'll have a chance to get back to that. Right now the focus is on Cabrera with a runner at second, 2 out, and now Saltalamacchia will go out and talk. The point was that Bobby Valentine said we've prepared him to be a starter. We didn't know Bailey was going to get hurt. He got hurt late in spring. We have Aceves, who they have installed as their closer for now. And we're going to see how he does as a starter. If it doesn't work out, then we have that in reserve. We could ask him later in the year, if need be, to go back to the bullpen. But for now, he's in the rotation. Here's the 0-1. 0-2 rather, and that's on the outside corner. Good work by Beckett to get Cabrera, who got him back in the first. 2 strikeouts in the inning, and after 3 in Detroit, 2-0 Tigers. Trip down the Detroit River as we remind you that today's game presented by Chevrolet is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Park Plaza here in Detroit on a beautiful day on the 7th of April. Glad you're with us on Fox Saturday Baseball as Gonzalez takes a ball down and in. We heard from Bobby Valentine that he's waiting for this offense to kick it in, and here's a guy that's capable of jump-starting the entire lineup. Gonzalez, who struck out his first time against Pfister. 2-0 Detroit on the home run by Cabrera. And that's up the middle for a base hit. Second of the season for Gonzalez, who is now 2 out of 5, and he's on to start this 4th inning with his club down by 2. That'll bring in David Ortiz, who singled into that shift his first time up.
I don't think any hitter in the major leagues uses all parts of the field as effectively as Adrian Gonzalez. Remember Terry Francona's line last year saying he hits the ball to left field like a right-handed pull hitter.
That's something, actually, as Ortiz takes a strike. Miguel Cabrera learned from Adrian Gonzalez when they were both single-A ball players together on the same team in the Marlins organization.
Cabrera learning to take the ball to right like Gonzalez takes the ball to left.
1 ball, 1 strike. Cabrera is at the shortstop position with Ortiz at the plate. There is nobody on the left side. Leads down the line as this one is wheeled on and popped into right. Back on the track is Bosch for out number 1. The Red Sox, who have put their leadoff man on each of the last 3 innings, have 1 on 1 out here in the 4th.
Of all the pitches that Pfister has thrown, that was the one ball that he really got away with.
There they are as teammates. We talked about Cabrera and Adrian Gonzalez when they were kids. 18 and 19 years old in the Marlins organization. Don't forget Beckett was a first-round pick by the Marlins in '99. So that is a look back at history with 3 of the better players in the American League all coming out of that Marlins organization. Here's Euclid. 1 on, 1 out. Strike 1. Kevin struck out his first time up. That floats up and in. The count 1 ball, 1 strike. And when you think of those good young Marlin teams and the guys they had in that organization talent-wise, you think about Dave Dombrowski, who is the general manager now here in Detroit. There's a strike. His 11th season with the Tigers. And one of the best men in the front office anywhere in not just baseball, but in my opinion, anywhere in professional sports.
No question about it. There's Dave right there. In fact, he was the general manager who hired Jim Leyland, who was the manager of the 1997 Marlins, and of course world champions for their first time after 5 years being in the National League.
Counts 1 and 2 on Euclid, and now ball 2 in the dirt, smothered by Avila. 2-2. Last time we saw Alex Avila, we were talking about that knee that was bothering him throughout the postseason. It was a long year for Alex, who really blossomed last season with the bat behind the plate. He was an all-star, and you see the number of innings he caught last year, the 2nd most in baseball. That's on the outside corner, and that's strikeout number 3, and out number 2 for Pfister here in the 4th.
It is rare when you see Kevin Euclid go down twice on strikes. Outside corner by Pfister, perfect pitch.
Not according to Euclid, and now the inning is up to Ryan Sweeney, who walked his first time up. Inside, ball 1.
That's that tailing fastball that Pfister threw to Euclid, and a lot of hitters give up on that pitch. We saw Greg Maddux make a living out of that for about 20 years in the major leagues.
So Again, the Red Sox have put their leadoff man on each of the last 3 innings, and they're trying to do something with it. They wasted a leadoff double last inning, hit by Saltalamacchia. Beckett, the Red Sox still down 2-0 as we play in the 4th. The 1-0. 2-0. On deck is Cody Ross. Now they're going to go out and check on Pfister. And he does not tell the trainer and Jim Leland to go back to the dugout. Maybe something is wrong. While they look at Doug Pfister, we'll go to Matt Vasgersian for a DirecTV game break.
Hey, Joe, in Phoenix, Aaron Hill's having a great time against Madison Bumgarner. First multiple home run game of the year. 4-0 Arizona early. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DIRECTV. Joe and Tim, back to you guys.
All right, so the Diamondbacks got off on the right foot. Now they're pounding away again, this time at Bumgarner. And looked like initially before we went to the game break, as we look at the last pitch he threw, like he pointed to something on his side when the trainer and Jim Leland came out, but I don't know what it was that they saw. Looking at that replay, it didn't look like anything.
It may have been something that Doug told the trainer before going out there. I may have felt a little something, and keep an eye on me. And, you know, I'll try it. Maybe. Don't know.
53 pitches on the day. 29 of them strikes. And that's it for the guy who went 8-1 last year for the Tigers. And it being this early in the season, his first start. I'm sure the Tigers will err on the side of caution, and they will now have to dip into their well-rested bullpen with a day off yesterday. Try and cover the rest of this game.
This early in the season, and remember, these players are coming from a very, very warm climate. The Detroit Tigers for years have trained in Lakeland, Florida. Red Sox in Fort Myers, Florida. So a rib cage injury or something of that nature is not at all unusual in cold weather after coming from the warm weather.
Dwayne Belo, the left-hander, will take over. And he was a late addition to this roster, made his first opening day roster because of an injury, and now here he is because of another injury into the second game of the season. Once Luis Marte went down to the bullpen, Belo, who lost in his bid to make the rotation in spring training, is now pitching out of the bullpen, and now we go 2 pitches back.
More telling.
You can see Avila look into the dugout and see if there was something there, and there's a grab on the left side of the torso by Pfister.
Yeah, it was Dwayne Belo who had the opportunity to stay with the Tigers on the hamstring pull from Luis Marte, the right-hander who's headed north with the Tigers. And because of that hamstring pull, Belo was added to the roster, and here he is in game 1.
And it's always interesting to watch a guy, and we've talked about this before, who takes over cold. And it's chilly on this day, but he's cold. And he knows everybody is waiting around for him to get ready. He's a starting pitcher anyway.
Right.
And you wonder how ready he will be. And he only has to pick up 1 out.
Yeah, trying to hurry himself to get loose in a hurry. Realizing that 46,000 people are waiting for him to get ready. There was a look at Brandon Inge, who is on the disabled list for the Tigers. I thought a very popular player here in Detroit, but was booed roundly when the Tigers were introduced on Thursday afternoon.
Trying to learn second base during spring training, and he is on the DL with a bad groin. When he comes back, he will play against left-handed pitching at second base. He's got a year left on his deal, and for now it appears that the Tigers will stick with him. The MLB Fan Cave is back. This year, 9 cave dwellers will compete to remain in the cave until the final pitch of the World Series. Some of baseball's biggest stars are scheduled to visit and appear in Fan Cave videos. You can check out all the latest cave happenings at MLBFanCave.com. Follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter and like on Facebook. While we wait, we will remind you that next week, Fox Saturday Baseball returns and Albert Pujols will be in New York at Yankee Stadium. He leads the Angels against the Yankees. The Rangers take on the Twins, Cubs, and Cardinals. Great matchups. Fox Saturday Baseball returns next week at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific, following MLB Player Poll, which airs at a special time. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area. Earlier start time next week, and we'll see the 3-time NL MVP, the 9-time All-Star, and a guy who has had maybe, if not the best, 11-year start to a career, one of the best in the history of this game.
I think the best.
Now out in Anaheim. So he'll be at Yankee Stadium, and now inheriting a 2-0 count is Belo with Sweeney at the plate, tying run. Gonzalez at first. He was there with nobody out. He's there with 2 out. A strike from the young left-hander. So Fister's day is finished after 3 2/3. If we get any word on what exactly it was, we'll pass it on. Here comes an 0-1 instead. The left-hander steps off. 3 hits along the way. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk by Fister. Off the end of the bat, shallow left, out goes Peralta. He hauls it in, and the inning is over. We've played 3.5. Tigers are into their bullpen. Back to work as Beckett down 2-0. Prince Fielder hits a rocket foul to start the bottom of the 4th inning. 2-0 Tigers, and with Fielder the big addition to this team over the offseason. We are joined now from the dugout by the best pitcher in the game, in my opinion. Your opinion, Tim, too?
Absolutely.
Justin Verlander, who is, well, he doesn't have a record yet. He has a no decision, but you have to be awfully pleased with how you pitched on Thursday in the home opener.
Yeah, definitely pleased. It's a goal of mine to get off to a good start. My Aprils in the past haven't gone too well. So, that was one of my goals in spring training this year and last. But I feel like having learned from my experiences last year and what made me successful, I was able to draw on that this spring training in my first start and just kind of carry it over. Justin,
the one thing that struck me is that I don't think I've seen a pitcher with as good a curveball in his first start since Sandy Koufax. And I'm serious about that.
That's quite a name.
Koufax could have a good curveball when they broke camp.
Here's a fly ball into left at the wall. Fielder has his first.
Atta baby. See, now I'm not even going to get my high five.
Go ahead, put the headset down where you can get back on.
All right.
Be a teammate.
All right.
Prince Fielder, the new addition to this team, has gone deep, and the 3 and 4 hitters have gone yard for the Tigers, who lead 3-0. So for Prince Fielder, career hit number 998, just traveled 394 feet and gave the Tigers a 3-0 lead. And Prince, who watched his dad hit all those home runs, one season Cecil hit 51 home runs for the Tigers, goes deep the opposite way. Tim, that is a show of strength in this park this time of year to go opposite field and get his first.
He did that 38 times for the Milwaukee Brewers last year. There's Justin Verlander's reaction, and I don't blame you. Those runs are going to benefit you one of these games, right, Justin?
You ain't kidding.
Here's a 1-1. This one off the end of the bat, a race to the bag, and Gonzalez can't pick it up. Delman Young is on. And I would think a base hit to follow the Prince Fielder home run, but we'll wait and see. As Young is on base for the first time in the 2012 season. That was going to be a tough play either way, and it's 1 on, nobody out. Weren't you joking, Justin, with Dave Dombrowski over the offseason about just, why don't we go out and sign Prince Fielder, and then not too long after you did?
Yeah, well, we do a thing every year where we come up here to Detroit in January for Tiger Fest and just kind of do a tour around Detroit. And so we're around management a lot at that time, so I was sitting down having lunch with Dave one afternoon, and I was kind of joking with him, hey, Prince is still out there. He looked pretty good in a Tiger uniform, and, just kind of joking. And I guess a couple days later, Mr. Ilitch gave him the call and said, hey, let's try to get this thing done. And that's just a testament to Atlanta.
Here's a fly ball into left off the bat of Avila. That's gone. A 2-run shot. 5-0, and we're going to lose our interview guest again.
No, I've given him enough high fives.
Avila goes deep, and that's 3 home runs on the day for this loaded Detroit lineup.
Yeah, see, now I got to stay on here now, boys. You guys have started something. I might have to do this every year.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to have to join after and SAG. You're going to have to get in our union. 5-0 Detroit, and the ball is jumping out of this park.
Cool weather. That normally does not happen in April. Home runs the other way. We've had 2 in this inning. I would imagine Justin Verlander already has a SAG card.
Yep.
Yeah, you were in a commercial for the video game MLB 2K, and they tell me you were in it. I wasn't really watching you during that commercial. I was watching your co-star.
Yeah, it's only natural.
That's Kate Upton, who it would give us the premise of the spot.
Well, it's just MLB 2K12. They're doing a thing this year where it's a perfect game challenge, win $1 million, and so I'm trying to get into the perfect club, and Kate's working the door, and she's not going to let me in. I'm in disguise as Randy Johnson because he's throwing a perfect game in.
Here's a ground ball to Euclid.
I think I did a pretty good Randy Johnson. I heard he was pretty pleased.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's the hair and the whole thing. Here's the commercial right here. Let's play it, and then we'll get your thoughts.
They spent a long time on this wig, by the way.
Can you throw a perfect game in MLB 2K12? Win the $1 Million Perfect Game Challenge and get inside? I hope so. Mr. Johnson, any words of wisdom?
I'm here for the lobster.
Randy? Justin Verlander? Again?
Kate, come on. Please, let me in. Cy Young, MVP.
What do you guys think about my acting?
I thought it was great. Your timing, the one thing we didn't show was you saying hi.
Yeah, my comedic timing, man. It's just natural. You can't help that. You can't teach that.
Pitch is inside to Dirks. By the way, Delman Young, that was a base hit, no error on Adrian Gonzalez. As the count goes to 1-1. You're one guy, and I know there are others, but you're one guy who, as a starting pitcher, I know you're serious on day games, on the day of your games, but you like to have fun. We've seen you, even in the postseason last year, you don't take yourself or the situation too seriously until you need to.
Yeah, and that's the point. We're around each other so much, and I'm at the ballpark so much. You got to have fun. It's such a grind. You got to be able to get away from it and just enjoy it. And doing things like lighting Don Kelly's foot on fire, and little things like that. It's just kind of it's just fun.
A lot of talk in the papers and on radio call-in shows about Jim Leland pulling you after 8 innings in the opener. I'm sure that didn't surprise you at all.
No, after the 7th, he came and told me. He said, "You've got 110, and that's it. I'm not letting you go over that on opening day." So I knew going into that 8th inning that even if I didn't have a quick one that inning, he was going to come take me out, and he told me that. So I got through that one, and I knew that was it. And can you fault him? We've got a closer that was perfect last year, and it didn't go great for him, but we still won the ball game.
And Justin, you still haven't answered that question about a curveball. Have you ever had a curveball that good that early?
No. Every year I write down a list of things that helps me. And last year was kind of a long backswing and short on the front with my breaking ball, and I felt like that kind of carried over into spring training. Right away I had a good curveball in spring and just maintained it all spring training. That was the goal, is to keep it where it's at. So it's midseason form starting the season.
Last question. It's not that great, but I'll throw it out there anyway. Which means more to you, the MVP award or the Cy Young award from last year?
I think the MVP. That's something that growing up as a kid, I remember seeing Roger Clemens win it. And, I always dreamt of that. And then as I got older and into the game of baseball, I realized that that's something that may never happen again. And it's kind of a surreal moment to realize that, here I was watching him and my idol do it. And here I am however many years later, and I won it. It's just a pretty cool experience.
So we know this. Next time we have a Tigers game and you're not pitching, it'd be better if you're pitching. But if we ask for an interview after 2 home runs and a 3-run 4th inning, I know you're going to say yes.
Of course. Yeah, I'll come back next inning, too.
All right, good. Justin, thanks.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Justin Verlander, the American League MVP and Cy Young Award winner last year. And they don't come any better than right-hander who went 24-5 and led the American League in strikeouts for a team that got into the postseason, losing in the ALCS to the Rangers as the count goes to 2-1 on Ryan Rayburn. Rayburn struck out his first time. He's about to turn 31 in 10 days, and a guy who really had a good second half of the season last year as he flies one into center, sending Ellsbury back, and the inning is over. In the inning, the Prince has his first as a Tiger. And the reaction from the AL Cy Young Award winner and MVP. 5-0 Detroit after 4. First pitch hits the inside corner from Belo, the left-hander who took over for Pfister, who went 3 2/3, grabbed at his side, and then after one more pitch was taken out last inning. So it is a 5-0 lead for Detroit, but the Boston Red Sox now get to go after the young left-hander instead of Doug Pfister. It'll be Ross, then Saltalamacchia, then Avilas. The bottom three in the lineup as Belo falls behind 2-1. And now the next. Cody Ross takes outside a little bit low, 3-1. Looking for something to get started, looking for someone to break through. It took until the 9th inning on Thursday in the opener for the Red Sox. Here is Ross chasing a ball high, and Cabrera makes the play. 1 out. Give you our Jeep game summary as we play here in the 5th inning. Cody Ross may have chased ball 4. Miguel Cabrera, a 2-run shot in the 1st inning. Pfister left in the 3rd in Detroit with home runs by Prince Fielder and Alex Avila in the bottom of the 4th.
Doug Pfister, of course, will not be credited with the win if the Tigers hold on. But this is a good opportunity for a young pitcher like Belo to swoop in with a 5-run lead and pick up a win.
He is 26 years old as Daniel Schlereth, the left-hander, gets loose. Belo came up with Detroit last year, made 2 starts, got into 14 games, and was 0-2. But a chance he has here today as the count goes to 1-1 on Saltalamacchia, who doubled his first time up. Switch hitting catcher hit that double left-handed as he ripped it into the right field corner. Here is a 1-1. That tip caught the mask of Avila, strike 2. That is part of the face of Jim Leland, who is in his 7th year as manager of the Tigers. Hard hit. Nice catch by Cabrera. Lunging to his left, 2 out.
Reacting to make the play.
After a couple of misplays in the opener on Thursday, Cabrera's made 3 fine plays so far in this game as Avilas, the number 9 hitter, takes a strike. Ken Rosenthal is with us. It was a nasty cut that Miguel Cabrera suffered during spring training, and he seemed to flinch on a ground ball on Thursday as he charges but picks up a foul ball. And I'm sure it raised some eyebrows around the Tigers organization, and he admitted something after the game, Ken.
He did, Joe, and he said that that ball scared him a little bit. And he was supposed to get down on that ball, not stay up the way he did. And that was the problem. That's why he didn't make the play. It was a ball hit by Dustin Pedroia, and Cabrera basically said afterward, in time he'll make that play, but on that one instant, he shied away.
Count is 0-2 on Avilas, and he wanted it up. The catcher Avila, he got it up, and then Avila swung and missed. Strikeout number 1 for Belo. Back to work. Beckett down by 5. Major League Baseball on Fox, presented by Chevrolet. Hometown fans here in Detroit having fun as Austin Jackson takes a strike over the inside corner. Those rooting for the Red Sox are not, watching Josh Beckett allow 3 home runs. 5 runs on 5 hits, down 5-0. A little flare off to the right. The count's 0-2.
Yeah, the concern for Tiger fans, the injury to Doug Fister. The concern for Red Sox fans, the ineffectiveness, 3 home runs given up by Josh Beckett through 4 innings.
Here is his 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball that stays inside, drops a little low, ball 1. Jackson has walked and scored and doubled. Got him looking on a pitch belt high. Strikeout number 3 for Josh Beckett. And Fox Saturday Baseball is sponsored by Chevrolet, proud to support youth baseball in cities and towns across the country. Beautiful day in Detroit. Tigers trying to start this season 2-0. Red Sox trailing here 5-0, and that's a pitch inside for ball to Brennan Bosch, who is lined out to short, lined out to right. 0 for 6 to start the season. That's strike 1.
That was a good curveball from Beckett, maybe the best he's thrown all day. As Bobby Valentine looks on, pitching coach Bob McClure, his first year with the Red Sox. That's a good downer right there.
Beckett ready with another, with a count 1-1 strike. That one stays outside. 2-1. On deck is Cabrera, who is homered and struck out. Beckett's 2-1. 2-2.
Josh Beckett expressing surprise that people were dumbfounded. That's his word that he used, that he went for 2 opinions on that right thumb. I tell you, when you're pitching and you're as big a name as Josh Beckett, as Ken Rosenthal alluded to earlier, and you're that big a name in Red Sox Nation, there's going to be concern.
To the right side for Gonzalez. He bobbles another, but gets the out, 2 away. Go for a game break, and let's check in with Matt Vasgersian.
First hit is an angel, but it hasn't really bothered Luke Oche. Able to double here. Pujols would be thrown out at the plate later by Alex Gordon trying to score. Gordon led the big leagues with 20 outfield assists last year. You'll recall Royals trying to even up their season opening series in L.A. Joe and Tim, back to you guys.
All right, Matt, Gordon, part of that good young core that the Royals will build around over the next couple of seasons, and that's a team that we could be hearing good things out of here in a very short while.
Everybody looking forward to seeing Eric Hosmer, that fine young first baseman, and the All-Star game in Kansas City this year, just perfect.
That one rolls in there, breaking ball from Beckett, ball 1 to Cabrera. Red Sox, when they bat in the 6th, will have the top of their lineup. Ellsbury, Pedroia, Gonzalez trying to do something about this score, which could change now. At the wall, off the wall, and it got hung up. Cabrera is still circling the bases. Cody Ross is saying that ball got hung up, and the umpire from second base, C.B. Bucknor, is out to check it. It went through the bottom of the fence, and it's going to be a double. So instead of home run number 2 and a 6-0 lead, it's a 2-out double, and let's take a look as it went behind the fence after hitting about midway up.
kind of crawling under that cyclone fence. Cody Ross pointing to it. C.B. Buckner explaining to manager Jim Leland.
So this is something they could look at if they wanted to. It looks to me like the ball hits under the yellow line. About that, really the green padding that goes across.
Kind of crawls down between the padding and the fence.
Jim Leland is getting the explanation from C.B. Bucknor. I don't know how good of a look he would have had at this, but it looked like this ball stayed in play and then somehow found a gap in that wall, and they may go look at it on replay anyway. The crew chief is Dale Scott, and he's going to go take a look. Let's take another look and see if we get any better view. See it on the left side.
Looks like it's against the fence right there. Did it go over the yellow line?
Yeah, the ball disappears. I mean, it. Yeah, that ball, that looks like it's gone.
Yeah, it did.
Immediately, Cody Ross put his arms up as if to say the ball stayed in play, then went out of play. But right here, this is the best look at it, with the ball disappearing for a moment behind that yellow line. And that ball's gone. It hits the area behind that green padding and not on it. What a good look. And that could be home run number 2 on the day for Miguel Cabrera, and the 4th given up by Beckett.
If the umpires do decide that it's a home run, what appeared to happen was the backspin of the ball took it back under the fence, almost back onto the field of play when it did clear the fence. It's the ground behind the fence.
It looks to us with that last look like Cabrera is going to have his second home run of the day. And with Beckett's struggles on the day, now Atchison, a right-hander, is getting loose for the Red Sox out in their bullpen. Again, we think this could be home run number 2 for the reigning American League batting champion. By the way, we referenced the injury by Miguel Cabrera during spring training on a ground ball that he caught under his right eye on March 19th. And there it is. He's wearing glasses, which evidently saved him from a much worse injury, but he got stitches. Ken Rosenthal, this was a scary moment for the Detroit organization and Miguel Cabrera individually. Hold off on that. We're going to get the call now. And it's a home run. Ken Rosenthal, it doesn't look like changing positions defensively back to third base has slowed down his swing, Eddie.
No, it certainly hasn't, Joe. And talking to Dustin Pedroia, here is an appreciation for how difficult it is to come back from such an injury. Dustin was entering his sophomore year at Arizona State when he was playing for Team USA in the Netherlands when he took a ground ball off his face. That ball broke 6 bones above his right eye, 1 below it. He had a concussion, lacerations, And we know Dustin now is this brash guy, endlessly confident. And he told me that he didn't even want to take ground balls after that. He had to have a lot of talks with the late sports psychologist Harvey Dorfman to overcome his fears.
Something that Cabrera is dealing with here early, and admitted to kind of shying away from the ball on Thursday. But he's made good defensive plays today, has 2 home runs. And now Prince Fielder, who went deep his last time up, rips one into right. Home run derby here in Detroit. Fielder's got 2. Cabrera's got 2. And the Tigers have 7 runs.
What a rocket.
And now Delman Young was trying to make it 3 in a row.
Josh Beckett has given up over 30 home runs only once in his career. 36 several years ago. But 5 here in 5 innings today. The last one hit harder than any of them.
Count is 0-2 on Delman Young. With Atchison getting loose, this is probably it for Josh Beckett, who has allowed those 5 home runs. 2 of them to Prince Fielder, and I thought going into this offseason for a guy that's 27 years old, and Prince Fielder to be a power source in a lineup, I was shocked he took as long as he did to find a deal to his liking. And Tigers unloaded for him. And they, in my opinion, are going to be glad they did. Obviously, he's one of the game's great sluggers. He got a huge deal. But even compared to Pujols, in my opinion, he was, over the long haul, the preferable free agent. Here's an error by Avila on a ball in the hole, and the inning continues. We'll see if Josh Beckett will continue.
Here comes Bobby Valentine.
How tough is this Tiger lineup going to be to pitch to in 2012?
No soft spots.
Atchison coming in. 2 baseballs went out in this inning. Cabrera. Fielder. 7-0 Tigers. Still in the 5th. Atchison's first pitch to Avila is inside ball one. Atchison takes over. There's numbers from last season. Beckett goes 4 2/3, 7 runs, 7 hits. 5 of them home runs. Along the way, he struck out 3, walked 1. Atchison hits the inside corner this time. A ball and a strike to Avila. There's Mike Ilitch, 82-year-old owner of the Tigers, and his Red Wings are pointed toward the playoffs. Heavy investment in this Tiger lineup, and he has watched them pound the home run ball here today. The count 2-1 on Avila. That's strike 2. Atchison part of an 8-man bullpen. 13 pitchers carried by the Red Sox here at the start. Only 3 guys on their bench. One of them's the backup catcher.
Kelly Shopik.
Fly ball into center. Back is Ellsbury, and the bottom of the 5th inning is over, but not before the Tigers get 2 more. Long, short day for Josh Beckett. And a lot of smiles for the Tigers, who lead 7-0. Brought to you by Toyota for the Boston Red Sox. Ellsbury is about to lead it off. Is hitless so far. He's 0 for 6 on the year. 3-4 hitters. And the number 8-man Saltalamacchia, the only hits, 1 extra base hit. The Tigers have 7 hits total, 6 for extra bases. And Belo is back to work. He hits the outside corner to Ellsbury, who's flied out, grounded out. Belo has faced 4, retired 4. He's faced 5, retired 5. 1 out in the 6th. And Ellsbury, who finished 2nd in the MVP voting last year in the American League, is 0 for 7 to start the year. Here is Pedroia. Dustin is grounded out twice.
Ellsbury with 212 hits on the season last year. Adrian Gonzalez with 213. Terrific years offensively for the Red Sox.
Strike 1 to Pedroia. This Red Sox team will have to answer questions about their offense after the game if they can't kick it into gear, and certainly about Beckett, or Beckett will after his day that lasted 4 2/3 innings, allowing 5 home runs and 7 hits. Here is a 1-1. Strike 2.
The concern this year is that perhaps it might be a carryover if the Red Sox are off to a bad start. Last year, I think Red Sox Nation, even though the Red Sox were 2-10 in their first 12 decisions, Red Sox Nation was saying it's just a matter of time, and it was. As we said earlier, they were the best team in baseball until September 4th. But this year, there's the carryover from last September as Octavio Dotel warms for the Tigers.
1 out, nobody on, a 1-2 count on Pedroia. And that caught his foot or leg on its way down the third baseline. Breaking ball from Belo and fouled off the outside of the left foot. In case you're wondering, as Doug Fister left in the 4th inning, we asked trainer Ken Rosenthal down there, asked what went on. The only word we've gotten is a strained muscle in the left side. So no more specifics as to the injury, and there will be no more specifics at this point after he left back in the 4th. Counts 2-2 on Pedroia. And a high fly ball down the left field line. If it stays fair, it's gone, and it curls foul. The count's still 2-2. This series will wrap up tomorrow on Sunday, and Clay Buchholz, who was so good last year after a great 2010, but who left last season with a bad back, take on Max Scherzer, 27-year-old right-hander. That's on the outside corner. Pedroia argues, and he is out number 2. And with that, today's game is sponsored by Dodge. Visit your local Dodge dealer today. And by Scott's Turf Builder Lawn Food. Feed your lawn. Feed it. Second strikeout for Belo, and Pedroia is still hot that this was called strike 3. Gonzalez fouls one off to the left. Adrian Gonzalez is now over a year removed from shoulder surgery, which took some of his power away last year. Still hit 27 home runs, almost won the batting title. Takes one up and in from Belo. Red Sox made that deal with San Diego to bring Gonzalez to Boston, then locked him up to a long-term deal. Waits for a 1-1. That's in the air to right. Well hit. Back at the wall, off the wall. And Gonzalez has a long 2-out single. Good play by Bosch, who threw a 1-hop strike into second.
Brennan realizing that that ball wasn't hit high enough for him to make a play on it, so he turned immediately and gets the carom off the Jimmy John's sign in right field.
1 on, 2 out. Batter is David Ortiz. Red Sox looking for anything to feel good about offensively here against the Tigers on a Saturday afternoon. Ball 1 up and in. Lefties got under one and flied out to right his last time up. Hits a rocket into center. Back is Jackson to end the inning. Hard hit, loud out after 5.5 here in Detroit. Tigers coming up leading 7-0. Bottom part of the order for Detroit against Atchison, who relieved last inning for Beckett. The first pitch is low for ball one. Peralta's 0 for 2. Had 3 hits on Thursday in the opener. 1 ball, 1 strike. Give you the Toyota in-game box score for the Tigers. 2 homers for Cabrera, 2 for Fielder. A 2-run shot the opposite way for Avila. Down and away, 2-1.
Masters weekend, a lot of long drives in this ballpark today, huh?
And it has carried this big park on a chilly day. Here's a flare into center. Ellsbury can't make the catch. Diving try by Jacoby Ellsbury, but he just couldn't get there in time. Covered a ton of ground and came up empty.
Jacoby respecting the power of Peralta, who had 23 home runs last year. This is a very, very spacious center field to play defensively here in Detroit. Good try, base hit for Peralta.
Brings in the DH, Andy Dirks. He was late on that swing. Pitch from Atchison, that's strike 1. Dirks is fly to left, grounded to short. Rayburn on deck. Broken bat, flare to center. This one's going to drop in for a hit. Now here in the 6th inning, as we welcome you inside our broadcast booth, I'm Joe, that's Tim. Now the bottom of the order is getting into the act, and so far it's been the big bats, with Avila also chipping in and having fun with a home run ball.
Yeah, you think of the 15 innings that the Red Sox have played in this game and a half. They have not had a lead yet. They were trailing 2-0 until the 9th the other day and on opening day, and they tied it. And the Tigers came back to win it at the bottom of the 9th on the hit by Austin Jackson.
Here's Rayburn now, 2 on, nobody out. Breaking balls, a strike from Atchison. The left-hander who grew up nearby, Justin Thomas, gets loose. The 0-1. Double play ball, maybe. Tough play by Pedroia for out number 1. They say the bobble from Avila happened when he was taking it out of the glove. And Pedroia did well to get the 1 out. First and third, 1 out. We go to Matt Vasgersian in the MLB Network studios for a game break.
Joe, here's why the Royals are quietly optimistic about their future. They've drafted well. They've built from within. 2 of their young stars, Eric Hosmer and Mike Moustakas, have both taken Dan Herron deep in Anaheim. 5-0 Royals, middle of the day. Back to you guys in Detroit.
All right, Matt, thank you. And there is Hosmer you were talking about earlier. First and third, 1 out for Jackson, strike 1. Pretty close play at second base. Nice job by Pedroia on a tough hop.
It was.
That ball hit by Rayburn. First and third, 1 out. Jackson, slow roller, third base side. Euclid out at second. That's the only out. In to score is Peralta, and it's 8-0. So it's an RBI ground out for Austin Jackson, who's had a good start with the bat. Here's that previous play in the out at second.
You can see Pedroia having to give with the ball, and then Mike Avilas with a hand in the glove, and I guess you could call that in the act of throwing.
Here's Brennan Bosch. Breaking ball is low. It was kind of in between, though, because he was almost going for it with the bare hand.
Yeah, he was.
Trapped it against his glove, and I don't know if he ever really had full control.
Yeah, I'm not too sure that Dan Iasonia at second base or C.B. Buckner at second base could really tell whether he had a grip on the ball or not.
Counts 2-0 on Bosch. Brennan is looking for his first hit of the season. So far 0 for 7. And up on the count here, 3-0. Beckett, who was taken out of the game in the 5th, still sitting and watching in the dugout. Strike 1. 3-1. On deck is Cabrera. He has 2 home runs in this game. Atchison, part of a reworked bullpen for the Red Sox. Brings home a 3-1. Right side for Gonzalez, and he'll flip for the out. In the inning, a run on 2 hits. We go to the 7th here in Detroit. Tigers take the field up now by 8. is enough. How important Octavio Dotel was last year when he was picked up by the Cardinals as they made their march through September into October and eventually to a World Series championship. A big part of their bullpen. And this guy has bounced around more than anybody in the history of Major League Baseball.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And he's good.
Yeah, you bet he is. Fountain of youth. 13 teams. This is the 13th different team Dotel has been a part of.
He induces a ground ball, and Cabrera's had a good day all around with the bat and in the field. Here are the teams for Octavio Dotel, the guy that everybody wants and nobody keeps. Mets, Astros, A's, Yankees, Royals, Braves, Sox, Pirates, the Dodgers, the Rockies, the Blue Jays. Then he was traded to the Cardinals, the trading deadline, and now signs with the Detroit Tigers, and he is going to be a big piece to the puzzle here for Jim Leyland.
And his first manager back in 1999, Bobby Valentine with the New York Mets.
Here is a 1-0. I don't know if I can describe what Dotel can do with his arms. But I'm going to try. If you put your hands up and interlock your fingers over your head, he can put both arms all the way behind his back. And when they say a guy's got a rubber arm, it means in this game that they can pitch day after day. He literally has a rubber arm. Two of them.
It's painful just to think about that.
There's a strike, 3-1. Batter is Ryan Sweeney. 0 for 1 on the day, and now 1 for 2. He's on with 1 out as he reaches Dotel, and that is hit number 5 on the day for the Red Sox. That'll bring in Cody Ross. Ross is 0 for 2. Led off back in the 5th inning, may have chased ball 4, grounded out. He's grounded into a double play. Checked on Cabrera, who has 4 putouts, 4 assists, and 1 putout as the pitch is in for a strike to Cody. And now the 0-1. Breaking ball drops low. You know, you come off the college basketball tournament, you come off a football playoff season in the NFL or college football, and you get into that mindset where one game means the world. And week to week, everything changes. And then you have to get back into the mode of watching baseball where a day here, a day there, a bad week here, a bad week there does not a season make.
Particularly in April.
You can go crazy stressing about game results. I think you have to look more at the individual performances within, and this will be a day that Josh Beckett, coming off a very good spring training, numbers-wise, stuff-wise, will be shocked at how the Detroit Tigers knocked him out of the ballpark here this afternoon.
Josh giving up only 2 earned runs in 19 innings of work in spring training for the Red Sox.
Here is a 2-2. A strikeout on a swing and a miss, and the bat ends up at shortstop, 2 out. Cody Ross now 0 for 7 with the Red Sox as he could not hang on.
That was a slider from Dotel, and the bat went a lot further than the ball. Johnny Peralta picking it up and giving it to the bat boy.
So Ross 0 for 3 in this game, and now Sal Talamaki. Let's get Ken Rosenthal's perspective on what we were talking about with regard to the length of the season, the number of games, 162, and keeping things in perspective.
Joe, you're absolutely right, and yet one game here might have changed the outlook of the starting rotations for both teams. The Red Sox badly need Beckett, Lester, and Buchholz, their big three, to be really good this year because their fourth and fifth guys, Felix Dubrat and Daniel Bard, are unknowns. And then the Tigers, well, Fister's their number 2 starter. They made a big offer to Roy Oswalt in the offseason, $10 million for 1 year, trying to get him to be their 5th guy. They instead decided to go internal when Oswalt said no. So here they are. They're sitting with Drew Smiley in the 5th spot, and now they may have another open position as well.
Well, Belo was good when he was called on in this game. He came up short in the Derby during spring training, but he showed something today with 2 1/3, no runs, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts, coming in cold out of the bullpen. I do want to talk to you, Ken, about Oswalt. Did we get the chance? An interesting offseason because there were 3 or 4 teams that talked to him. There's a strike on the inside corner as Sweeney takes second base. And yet he's sitting out and almost doing a Roger Clemens from a couple of years ago when he waited to see how the Yankees were. Oswalt's doing that across Major League Baseball, right?
Right, and early on, he wanted to play for one of 2 teams, the Texas Rangers or the St. Louis Cardinals. We'll talk more later.
Good job, Kenny. Way to edit yourself. 2 guys going for home run number 3 of this game. Coming up, we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. All Detroit today, up 8-0. Men auto stop foolproof stat. How about the day for Miguel Cabrera and Prince Fielder, each with 2 home runs? Just as the Tigers can count on Cabrera and Fielder, you can count on Just for Men auto stop for foolproof results. But the last time for the Tigers, their 3-4 hitters each hit 2 home runs in the same game was in 1968. What were you doing back in 1968, and how did that season end for you?
I knew you were going to say that. We were up 3-1 as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Detroit Tigers came back to win 3 in a row. And I've never forgotten that season, and anybody who was a part of that team would never forget that season either.
Here's a strike from Matt Albers, 3rd pitcher of the day for the Red Sox. Takes over for Atchison, who went an inning and a 3rd. Albers with the Orioles last year with the Red Sox, and he misses ball 1.
Funny, Joe, as the years go along and you start putting things together, you realize that tomorrow is the anniversary of Henry Aaron hitting .715 in Atlanta against the Dodgers. Now Downing. You know who the left fielder was for the Los Angeles Dodgers in that game? Bill Buckner.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I saw a clip of it recently. I said, was that Buckner? I'd forgotten that. And Bill Buckner, who, of course, the ball goes through his legs, 1986, Game 6. Mets win that game. They win Game 7. How the game just lasts, and the memories last for an eternity.
3 balls and a strike here on Cabrera.
And good or bad, they never go away.
Seems like the bad may stay with you longer than the good.
Isn't that the truth?
The 3-1. Left side. Euclid surrounds it. It's a fair ball and out number 1. We talked about Prince Fielder growing up around this organization with his dad, Cecil Fielder, a part of the Tigers back in the 90s. And there is Prince taking batting practice from Terry Francona.
Speaking of memories,
of all people, throwing to him. And it was that big deal to bring him here. 27-year-old Prince Fielder, 9 years, $214 million. The pitch up and away for ball 1 from Matt Albers.
I'm like you. I was surprised that Prince Fielder lasted that long before someone picked him up.
And I said earlier, this guy, you know, the Tigers are going to be happy, obviously. As you look, how about this career comparison, by the way?
Unbelievable.
They're now each at 1,000 games if you go back for Cecil. And look at the home runs. The RBIs are right there as well. But to me, of the 2 sluggers, and I know you're going to disagree with me on this, or I think you will, but for a long-term deal, this is the guy I would have signed before Albert Pujols.
No, I do disagree with that.
Yeah, I knew you would. It's 17 years together. I know.
Well, he does have youth on his side.
That's the part that's what I'm talking about.
That is 4 years, yes, no question about it.
Bottom falls out of that pitch. There's Mike Ilitch, and I think it caught everybody off guard, and it doesn't happen if Victor Martinez doesn't blow out his ACL in January.
So then what happens to Prince Fielder? With whom does he sign?
I don't know, but if there was one guy that the Cubs, that was tailor-made in my mind for the Cubs, it was this guy.
Or Pujols.
Yeah. That catches Prince Fielder and will catch the attention of the Tigers.
See Saltalamacchia with the glove in the middle of the plate. Looked like Prince was hit on the outside of the right ankle. It appears to be all right, but that's a volatile area.
Bring in Delman Young, and that's really the reason why I say it. I think the Angels know they signed Pujols to a 10-year deal, hoping for the best for the next 4 years, maybe 5 years, and knowing that the back end of that contract, it's going to be a bad deal. And they're going to have to hope that what they get out of the front end of it covers what they're going to have to carry around in the back end.
There was more of an immediacy, however, with the Angels than there was with the Tigers, in my view.
I agree. Here's a base hit into left off the bat of Delman Young, and it's 2 on with 1 out for the Tigers. A hit batsman and a single off Matt Albers here in the 7th. Today's game is sponsored by the 2012 Ford F-150, built Ford tough. And by 1&1, my website, where creating a business website is easy.
Well, you talked about the big signing of Prince Fielder and Albert Pujols. Delman Young, who just singled, is on at first base. And I love Jim Leland's line about Delman saying that this year, since it's his walk year, he's playing for groceries. Isn't that a great line?
Here's a little flare into left. That ball's going to drop off the bat of Avila, and the bases are loaded. As Alex Avila, an all-star from a year ago, has his second hit of the day. And Albers is in a 7th-inning jam, and the Tigers won't quit coming at him. Bat ended up leaving the hand of Avila, who gets his second hit. Now Peralta bats with the bases loaded. Fielder the runner at third, Delman Young at second, Avila at first, 1 out. We asked Bobby Valentine questions before the game about the team, about the bullpen in particular, about the lineup, about this and that, and his answer was, guys, I've only been at this for a day, 2 days. Well, at the end of spring training and now launching into this season, I mean, with the Boston Red Sox, there's a lot riding on every game, as this ground ball should be 2 out at the plate, and Peralta's safe at first. It gets away. A run scores Delman Young to make it 9-0, and the low throw by Saltalamacchia, and Gonzalez could not dig it out. On what was a tailor-made double play ball hit by Peralta.
Yeah, and you usually don't say that on a ball hit to the third baseman with the bases loaded. Saltalamacchia's throw is low to Gonzalez. You can see Prince Fielder is an easy out at home plate. But scoring was Delman Young on the overthrow or underthrow by Saltalamacchia to Adrian Gonzalez.
Bobby Valentine may have been at this as the manager of the Red Sox for now 2 days, 2 games. A lot's happened, and not much of it good. Baseball on Fox, presented by Chevrolet. Bottom of the 7th inning, and the inning continues. Second pitcher of the frame, and it's the left-hander Justin Thomas. He gets a foul that goes out of the reach of Saltalamacchia onto the top of the dugout off the bat of Andy Dirks, strike 1. Thomas, who grew up in Toledo, making his first opening day roster. And there are his numbers at AAA Indianapolis from last season. Dealing with the DH Dirks, who's 1 for 3. Outside, ball 1. Dirks had a great spring swinging the bat. Forced his way onto this roster. That is a foul ball. There'll be a roster decision to be made when Brandon Inge is healthy. They have a lot of interchangeable parts on this Tigers roster. Those are not two of them. Delvin Young and Prince Fielder, they are in to stay. Here's a 1-2. 2-2. Runners at the corners, a run is in. And here's a little flare that's going to drop for a hit and make it 10-0. Reaching for it and getting a base hit into left is Andy Dirks, who's now 2 out of 4. And a 10-0 game here in the 7th.
Everything is dropping for the Tigers this afternoon. Long balls and short balls. As Dirks gets his second hit and his first RBI of the year.
By the way, on that ball hit by Peralta with the bases loaded, it's a force out 5-2 and then an error on Saltalamacchia on that throw down to first to allow the run to score. That made it 9-0, now 10-0. Rayburn takes a strike. Hitless on the day, 1 for 7 on the year. Inside, a ball and a strike. Rayburn was part of the mix last year with Delman Young in and out of the lineup. The loss of Brennan Bosch. The last 2 months of the regular season and the postseason. That's outside, 2-1. Getting a chance to play second base, a guy who can move all over the place defensively. Batting in the number 9 spot, waiting for a 2-1 pitch from Justin Thomas. 2-2. Matt Albers with a rough 7th inning. Michael Bowden, the right-hander, getting loose. Valentine, I'm sure, wants to get work for some of the guys in the pen after that day off yesterday. As we start the 2012 regular season, how about that score? Tigers up 10-0 after 7. First pitch of the 8th inning is low. A couple of changes defensively. Santiago comes in the game at second base. Ryan Rayburn moves from second to left. Delman Young is out. Santiago will hit 5th. 10-0 is the score. Top of the 8th. And Octavio Dotel, who pitched a scoreless 7th, has a 1-1 count on Avilas. Ellsbury next, and then Pedroia. That bounces in, 2-1. Phil Koch, the left-hander, is getting loose.
Joe, I use the term "we" loosely, but I, for the first time ever, got a chance to meet Fred Couples last year, a friend of Tony La Russa, when we did a game in St. Louis. And Fred was tied going into this afternoon's play at the Masters, but Peter Hansen is 9 under today and leads Phil Mickelson by 1 stroke at the Masters here on Masters weekend.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. A swing and a miss. Struck him out, and Dotel gets his 3rd consecutive strikeout, and that's the end of his day. Freddie Couples, by the way, is tied for 11th. 2 over today, 3 under for the tournament at Augusta.
Yeah, Peter Hansen 9 under for the tournament and has taken the lead with a fine round today, and so is Mickelson, who's in 2nd place.
Our trivia question: the only person in history to play in both the World Series and the Masters. Pitching change.
That's
Phil Koch coming in. He's quick. We better go. 10-0 in the top of the 8th. Darnell McDonald will pinch hit for Jacoby Ellsbury against Phil Koch, who deals a fastball at 92 for a strike. Koch is the 4th pitcher of the day in a 10-0 game. Doug Fister, the starter, tweaked a muscle in his left side. He lasted just 3 2/3. There's a pitch a little up. 1-1. Then Belo did a nice job over 2 1/3 innings. Dotel, a nice Tiger debut, and now it's Koch. The count 1-1. McDonald pinch hitting for Ellsbury, who started the season 0 for 7. It's a 1-2 count.
You know, some of these trivia questions, the answer we are familiar with. But who is the only person in history to play in both the World Series and the Masters tournament? There's been one guy. What a remarkable achievement. The World Series and the Masters.
Changeup from Koch, and it's fouled back, still 1-2.
I did not know the answer to that until about 5 days ago.
Well, then that eliminates you. You played in the World Series. Your golf swing eliminates the other part.
That's right.
Here is a 1-2.
Guilty.
Inside, 2-2.
The guy who did it played for the New York Yankees. He was an outfielder, and he was known as Babe Ruth's legs. He played from 1928 to 1936.
Darnell McDonald pinch hitting, strikes out, looking 2 out, and here you go.
Here we are. Sammy Bird. Only person in history to play in the World Series and the Masters.
He's in 5 Masters.
By the way, Babe Ruth's legs. Sam Bird used to go in and pinch run for Babe Ruth. He'd go in for defense, and he played in the 1932 World Series, and that's the famous World Series where Babe Ruth either pointed to the home run or didn't, and the jury is still out.
And it will never come back in.
No, we didn't have video like we do today. No Facebook, none of that stuff in 1932.
Here is a 1-0 to Pedroia from Koch outside, 2-0. Happy to report that you have joined us in the 21st century and now are online and doing work on an iPad. It's impressive.
It's awful.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Outside, 3-0.
There is nothing, in my view, more disturbing than social networking. Nothing.
Really?
No.
You haven't mastered Facebook yet?
No. FaceTime's different now.
Facebook.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, FaceTime.
FaceTime. I FaceTime with my grandchildren. I love that. Okay. I love it.
Well, you can't have some and not the rest. Next Saturday, NASCAR on Fox heads to Texas and goes under the lights in the prime time. Defending champion Matt Kenseth leads the world's best drivers to the Great American Speedway to chase the checkered flag. Fox Sports is proud to bring you exclusive coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing presented by Farmers live from the Texas Motor Speedway next Saturday. Following Fox Saturday Baseball at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Here's a strike. Batter is Adrian Gonzalez. After the 2-out walk to Pedroia. The 0-1. Strike 2. I would love to have video of you the first time you were getting on FaceTime. All right, now, can you hear me? Hello?
I had my finger over the camera the first time I did it.
I don't know why I can't see you, Grandpa. Bowden still getting loose. Top of the 8th inning, and that pitch stays up and in to Adrian Gonzalez. Benoit, the right-hander, is getting loose, and as I said, it's obvious with a day off yesterday and all the travel, these managers trying to get as many guys into a ball game as they can at this point. Here comes a 1-2 from Phil Koch. Gonzalez strikes out, and that keeps the Red Sox scoreless through 8. Bottom of the 8th inning in Detroit. Tigers coming up. About to go to 2.
Today's game is sponsored by the Lexus ES. Complete luxury in a class full of compromises. Beautiful day, and those fans that are packed in here at 44,710 strong are enjoying it. If they're wearing Tigers gear, and 10-0 game, McDonald stays in the game, plays center. Michael Bowden, the right-hander, takes over and misses down and into Austin Jackson, who is 1 for 3. He scored a run, driven in a run, and has a double. That's a little high. It's 2-0. So they were packed in here on Thursday with their biggest opening day crowd in the now 13-year history of this stadium. Thursday, and they are sold out again today as Jackson fouls it back 2-1.
And on Thursday, Austin Jackson with the game-winning hit. When you think about that game, I know Justin Verlander didn't get the win, pitched 8 shutout innings, and that Valverde blew his first save in 1+ years. He was 49 for 49 last year. But think of the confidence that when you're trying to take something positive away from a game, think of the confidence that it instilled with Austin Jackson to have the game that he had, and ultimately the game-winning hit on Thursday.
John Lester out on the bench, the starter from Thursday for the Red Sox here in the 8th inning. And after the leadoff walk, Bowden deal with Brennan Bosch.
You know, we try to think along with our director Bill Webb, but I think Bill Webb is taking that shot from low third into the Boston dugout. Now, guarantee you next Friday at Fenway Park, those seated on the third base side of Fenway, they're going to be looking into the dugout to see if those starting pitchers are still on the bench.
Here's a double play ball hit to third. Euclid to Pedroia and on to first. 5-4-3 double play. And well turned by Euclid and Pedroia on to Gonzalez. Our Mazda moment. Better, stronger, smarter. I think those first 2 words appropriately describe the Tigers compared to even a year ago when they were a playoff team. They are better and they are stronger. And they're 2 big guys, each with 2 home runs in this game, including the man at the plate, Miguel Cabrera. The other, Prince Fielder. Ball 1 up and in.
Just consider next year when they have a healthy Victor Martinez returning to the lineup as their DH, probably full-time DH, with Avila doing as well as he's done as a catcher.
That foul ball makes it 1-1. In case you're wondering, Miguel Cabrera does have a 3-homer game that came 2 seasons ago against Oakland. The guy on deck has 1 3-homer game against the Pirates while with Milwaukee last season. That's out of play, strike 2. Cabrera, a 2-run shot in the first inning. Then hit what looked to be initially a double, and after going to the replay, the initial call was overturned to a home run back in the 5th. Here's a 1-2. Grounded to third. Euclid with a tricky hop down on a knee and across for the out. 3 batters faced in the 8-4. Bowden, we go to the 9th. Red Sox will bat down 10-0.
to reflect on his day, his 2-homer day, his first home runs with the Tigers. Cabrera stays in the game at third, and Joaquin Benoit, the right-hander who was so good last year and so busy during the postseason, deals down and away to Kelly Shopik, who is pinch hitting here in the ninth. Shopik batting for Ortiz. So trying to get Shopik in at bat. There's Bobby Valentine. Good breaking ball for strike one.
Kelly Shopik signed originally with the Red Sox. Left after the 2005 season. Was with Tampa Bay last year. Played for Joe Madden's Rays.
Left side, base hit past a diving Cabrera. Shopik is on to start the ninth inning for the Red Sox.
How about that Yankee Tampa Bay game yesterday when Joe Girardi, for the first time that I remember seeing Joe, used a 5-man infield in the ninth inning. Saw Joe Madden do that in the World Series in 2008 against the Phillies. But to my knowledge, Girardi's never done that before.
Was a game that featured a blown save by Rivera, something Jim Leland was talking about. A crazy start to the season for those two clubs in this American League East. As we talked about, Toronto's better. You have Tampa Bay, you have Boston, you have the Yankees. It'll be a tough division. Next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, you see the matchups. Pujols and the Angels at Yankee Stadium. Cubs and Cardinals as well in St. Louis in the home opening weekend for the world champion Cardinals. That's outside, and the count 2-0 on Euclid. Thank the Tigers and thank Justin Verlander for coming on with us earlier. Double play ball to Peralta. To Santiago, 2 out. And it's time for the Burger King smooth play of the game. Prince Fielder as a kid. Prince Fielder as a man. 2 home runs today. 1 to left and 1 rocket to right. His first 2 officially in the Tiger uniform. Back in '93, that didn't count. Crowd loves it here at the Tigers' home stadium with 2 out, nobody on, 1 out away from a 2-0 start to the 2012 season. This is the 7th year in the dugout with the Tigers for Jim Leland. He won his first division last year with the Tigers. And it would take a long time to convince me that anybody in the Central is nearly as good as Detroit heading into the season.
Not even close.
Ripped down the right field line, foul off the bat of Sweeney, who has a hit. He's reached on a walk, and now he's in the hole 1-2.
And it's something that perhaps the good folks in Detroit will know, but a lot of people may not know that last year with the Tigers winning the division, it was the first time in 24 years that they've won a division. Last time, 1987. Frank Tanana beat Jimmy Key on the last game of the season, 1-0 at Old Tiger Stadium.
Line drive into left field to base hit. Ryan Sweeney's had a nice start to his Red Sox days as he tied the opener on Thursday with an RBI triple in the 9th off Valverde, and now today he's been on base 3 times. Brings in Cody Ross, who has yet to reach.
Ryan Sweeney came from the Oakland Athletics, and he and his wife Natasha live in that Oakland area. In fact, they live in Walnut Creek near Tony La Russa.
1 on, 2 out. The ball high to Cody Ross. Russa, who is in retirement from managing, but is working for Bud Selig, baseball commissioner, in a special capacity. Strike one, and spent time during spring training with Dave Dombrowski and the front office of the Tigers, thinking he might have a shot as a guy running an organization for the Dodgers, depending on which ownership group got control. Here's a 1-1. Down and away, 2 balls and a strike. That opportunity appears to be gone at the moment if that ownership group is indeed approved. With their $2.15 billion purchase of the Dodgers and land around Dodger Stadium. Here's a 2-1. On the outside corner, 2-2.
We will have a chance to talk about that price tag of $2.15 billion for the Dodgers in future telecasts. But I think it's the most dramatic and positive thing to happen in baseball since free agency in 1976.
Here is a 2-2. Full count. And it may be 10-0, and it may be cold, and it may be late on a Saturday afternoon, early evening, but Cody Ross is dying to get on base for the first time in a Red Sox uniform. One of the real good guys in this game.
He really is.
Strikeout ends the day, and the Tigers have started 2012 with a record of 2-0. And it was done with a serious power display here today against Josh Beckett and the Boston Red Sox. Two-hour, 53-minute game. Belo gets the win, his first career win in the big leagues. Beckett takes the loss. And as he did it, he allowed 5 home runs in less than 5 innings pitched. And the Red Sox, who started last season 0-6, have started 2012 0-2, with a matchup coming tomorrow of Clay Buchholz and Max Scherzer. Next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the Angels and the Yankees, the Rangers and Twins, Cubs, Cardinals. Check local listings for the game in your area. An earlier start time next week on the air at 12:30 Eastern. Saturday night then is NASCAR in prime time. Sprint Cup Series racing presented by Farmers, live from Texas Motor Speedway. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern following baseball. And then tonight on Fox, catch an all-new episode of Cops, followed by an encore presentation of Bones, starting at 8 Eastern. Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Our 17th year of covering Major League Baseball on Fox is officially underway. For more info on today's game and the latest in Major League Baseball news, log on to foxsports.com on MSN, the world's favorite sports site. For Tim McCarver and Ken Rosenthal, I'm Joe Buck. So long from Detroit. You've been watching Fox. See you next week.